Welcome to the BYU Department of Microbiology and Molecular Biology 2021 Convocation Ceremony. I'm Joel Griffiths, Chair of the MMBio Department. I'd like to congratulate all our students for not only graduating, but for graduating in the face of all the challenges this past year has brought. As part of the MMBio Convocation, I'd like to announce the students who have won MMBio awards. The Medical Laboratory Science Student of the Year is Heather Spencer. The Microbiology Student of the Year, Emma Stuckey. The Molecular Biology Student of the Year is Mark Conley. The MMBio Outstanding Research Award goes to Christopher Haney. MMBio Distinguished Graduate Award goes to Edwin Velasquez. And the MMBio Outstanding Academic Achievement Awards go to Jace Anderson, Mark Conley, Benjamin Ogilvie, Sarah Ricks, and Emma Stuckey. We will now be pleased to hear from two of our recent graduates, Sarah Ricks and Mark Conley. They will be followed by a collection of thoughts from MMBio graduates answering the question, how has your experience at BYU prepared you for the rest of your life? It will then be my pleasure to address you.
I'm very grateful for this opportunity to speak, and I'm thrilled to be celebrating the class of 2021 with everyone today. I'm also very grateful for the continued support extended to me by my family, particularly by my parents, my brother, and my grandparents. They've cheered at my successes and stood by me when things were especially difficult. I'm also very grateful for exceptional mentors who have seen my potential and invested time in me. All of these individuals have had a profound influence on the person that I've become as I've studied here at BYU. As we take our next steps, the road ahead looks a little different for each of us. Some of us will be graduating with new jobs already in place. Some of us will be spending more time in school, possibly aiming to become healthcare professionals, lawyers, professors, or researchers. Some of us are taking less traditional routes or facing more uncertainty regarding what the future looks like. But no matter where we are headed, we can draw on what we've learned here at BYU as we pursue our new paths. Today I would like to highlight 4 lessons that we have learned as we've pursued our degrees that will help us face the future with confidence. The first lesson is discovering truth. The second lesson is building perseverance. Third, finding perspective. And fourth, facing uncertainty. So first, discovering truth. We spent a significant portion of our respective degrees learning and practicing experimental design in the scientific method. We've learned to test one variable at a time, to run appropriate controls, and to record our methods and findings. We also have extensive experience analyzing the work of others and interpreting our own data. In a world with so much at our fingertips, these skills are critical no matter your profession. As students at BYU, we've also had the unique opportunity to learn spiritual concepts in addition to studying the scientific method. As Elder Paul V. Johnson has said, the scientific method and intellect are very helpful, but they alone will never bring spiritual knowledge. Spiritual learning only comes through the Spirit. As BYU students, we've studied spiritual concepts and practiced receiving personal revelation. This method of acquiring spiritual truth complements what we learn through the scientific method and will deepen our understanding throughout our lives. Our second lesson is building perseverance. As scientists, we are no strangers to challenges and failures. We've had plenty of good ideas that didn't work out and plenty of experiments that failed before discovery began. For example, I once spent an entire summer internship optimizing a single protocol that I initially thought would be very straightforward. As I ran the experiment again and again, getting similar disappointing results each time, I thought there had to be something wrong with my approach. I approached others in my lab and in my department, and together we were able to fix some of the issues that had plagued the experiment. Each time the experiment failed, I was actually closer to discovering how to optimize the protocol, although this was difficult to see at the time. In science, failure often is a precursor to discovering truth. The ability that we've developed to be resilient will be a determinant of our long-term success. The grit and perseverance that we've developed through facing failed experiments, disappointing test scores, and other personal challenges will be an invaluable asset as we endeavor to approach and overcome future obstacles. The third lesson is finding perspective. In the lab, there's much to learn by observing life under a microscope. It's fascinating to me how much profound detail and discovery can be made simply through magnification. However, a microscopic viewpoint is not an appropriate perspective for every scientific question. Sometimes taking a system-wide approach can be more insightful than zeroing in on an individual factor. Adapting our perspective to address the situation at hand requires flexibility, but our ability to rotate between complementary perspectives will enhance our future capability to be creative problem solvers and enrich our future experiences. Finally, the fourth lesson is facing uncertainty. As I look back on my freshman year, I remember experiencing a whirlwind of mixed emotions. On one hand, I was excited to learn and exercise my newly minted independence. On the other hand, I also felt significant uncertainty as I struggled to choose a major and wondered if I could really succeed in classes like Chem 105. Most recently, the worldwide pandemic has sent each of us significant uncertainty as we've had to adapt to measures such as mask wearing, social distancing, and even remote courses. This unexpected challenge has underscored the fact that no matter how much we plan, we can't predict the future. There will certainly be more uncertainty to come, but I know we can face the uncertainty that lies ahead because we're not strangers to it. We've shown ourselves throughout our college experiences that we can adapt and achieve and overcome despite life's uncertainties. In conclusion, as we observe our growth, we see clues that illuminate our potential. As students in the College of Life Sciences, we have learned to discover truth, to build perseverance, to find perspective, and to face uncertainty. These lessons that we have learned will allow us to face the future with confidence, knowing we can overcome and achieve. As we graduate, our present moment is a place of decision where we get to determine how we will pursue whatever comes next. With gratitude for what we've learned, we can each make decisions now that will allow us to be whatever we envision when we look to the future.
When we arrived at BYU, many of us didn't know which path to take. I remember attending my PD Bio 120 class as a freshman thinking, what does PD Bio mean or stand for anyway? I think a lot of us thought that. I was 18 years old and I hadn't taken biology since I was 14. I was terrified. Although I was terrified, I eventually settled in because I had the help of great classmates and professors. One of the topics that we approached at the end of the semester was evolutionary biology. I love the topic of evolutionary biology because it challenges a lot of the ways of thinking that a lot of people have, especially within our faith. I remember when we approached the topic, I thought, aren't we at BYU? Surely this topic will be brushed aside. To my surprise, we dove right in. This was something that I loved about my experience at BYU in the Life Science College. We weren't taught to simply brush aside topics that challenge social norms or that make many members of our faith uncomfortable. In almost every single class, we encountered ideas that were delicate, like race, gender diversity, parthenogenesis, genetic engineering, evolutionary biology, and more. I genuinely appreciated how each professor didn't sugarcoat these topics. I recall talking about evolutionary biology with Dr. Adams. He didn't mince words and told us the science straight from Chuck D, as he would often say. It was great to learn about these topics from a scientific perspective before approaching them from a religious background. Learning the scientific evidence for each hot topic, followed by a lens of faith in God, not only strengthened my faith in God, but also furthered my passion for science. It enriched my experience here, and it changed my perspective forever. I'm also grateful to professors who taught us to enjoy learning. I remember Dr. Adams was hilarious. I loved his class. He gave us a pump-up speech of the final countdown right before our final exam to get us pumped. There was also Dr. Johnson with his Ron Swanson mustache and hilarious molecular biology jokes. Also, Dr. Burgess kept things fun in March with the March Madness Challenge for the Golden Pipette. I'm so grateful that these professors taught us to learn with a smile and a laugh. In addition, I want to thank my friends and the students for helping me get through tough exams and for good time spent together. I'll never forget my cell bio and anatomy study groups. We spent hours studying together, and this caused us to become great friends. We also, because we were all studying biology, I think we all appreciated the outdoors, and so we spent a lot of time there together. Most importantly, I'm grateful to my professors and the university for giving me experiences outside the classroom. The application of knowledge was where the experience truly came alive for me. In Dr. Burge's laboratory, I studied methicillin-resistant Staph aureus, and through this process, I learned a lot about science and the scientific method. Some great memories were made at conferences, traveling with Dr. Burge's and other friends. The YServe program provided several opportunities for growth as well outside the classroom. Some friends and I had the opportunity to start programs to help an underserved population in South Provo. We tutored the children and we taught the parents English. It was really fun. Finally, I was able to combine my interest in medicine and my love for the Spanish language by volunteering at a free clinic through the Life Science Internship Program. I loved practicing my Spanish, and I loved helping people get better access to healthcare. All of these experiences combined for my own unique and personal journey to graduation. I feel fortunate to have had these experiences. We have all had our own journey to graduation, and I'm confident that whatever vocation we pursue, we are fully equipped to approach problems in a unique and bold manner. Whether you're going into something completely unrelated to science, the scientific method we learned here will help us work through difficult topics and situations. In the future, just like how Dr. Adams taught us in Evolutionary Biology, I hope we continue to use our passion for science to strengthen our faith in God. I hope that we continue to be involved in our communities through volunteerism and research. I hope that we continue to appreciate the nature and beauty of God's creations around us, as biologists do. Finally, I hope that we represent our university and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints well as we take our next step forward. Thank you again for this opportunity to speak, and may God bless us as we take the next step forward.
My experiential learning with Dr. Erickson and Dr. Wilson has given me the tools I need to succeed in a future of research and mentorship.
Living the BYU experience has prepared me to love and seek learning throughout my life. It has taught me that truth can be found in many different places, but that it should always lead me back to Christ. It has taught me that hard work is rewarding and that my brain is powerful and that I can do more than I know. It has taught me to be kind and forgiving to myself and others. It has taught me how to develop relationships with people who are different than I am. It has taught me that fun is necessary and that I need balance in order to be happy in my life.
My experience at BYU has prepared me for the rest of my life by filling my young, inexperienced high school mind with knowledge and power. It has prepared me to take all that I have learned here and to use it to be a force for good out in my field and in my personal life, wherever I may go.
Studying in the life sciences at BYU has helped me to realize my own abilities and potential and how I can use those to help others in my life and in my future career.
My time at BYU has taught me that I need to trust those around me when I need help. I've learned that refusing help from other people doesn't make me stronger. It just denies me of the blessings my Heavenly Father wants to give me.
Good evening, graduates. Thank you, Sarah and Mark, and others who have shared reflections with us. Thank you for representing this amazing graduating class. I have the privilege of saying what may be the last lecture you receive at BYU. I want to express how proud I am of what you have accomplished. For some of you, this experience has been a consistent but manageable grind, with surges of growth along the way. For others of you, the pressures of intensive learning often seem too much to bear. You withdrew from some classes or from entire semesters as you figured out how to muster the financial, physical, or emotional wherewithal to gain mastery in your field and to make it to this day. I believe it is you who have struggled most, who may have gained the most at BYU. In this life, tears of desire and defeat and determination are never shed needlessly. If we were the exercise science department, I would allude here to the principles of overload and adaptation. This idea that increased strength and endurance emerges as systems adapt to stress. No stress, no added strength. I enjoy my associations with faculty colleagues who, like you, have made special sacrifices, especially in the past year. I love the MMBio professors and support them in this work of educating, learning, which never ever stops. And your professors are deeply committed to continuing their own education, even as they assist you with yours. We've all been in this together. We've all messed up together. We've all achieved beautiful moments of insight together, and we've all been humbled by the work that is still ahead of us. In MMBio, we spend a great deal of time understanding the nature of things, of mutation and selection, of gene control, of cellular responses to the environment, of interactions between organisms, of the mechanisms of disease and healing. In all of this, I trust you have noticed the following biological theme: everyone is in it for themselves. This cynical perspective helps me toward this point, that selfishness is the nature of living things, and humans in particular. This has been lamented by philosophers and prophets for a long time. King Benjamin warned that the natural man is an enemy to God, that we, quote, drink damnation to our own souls except we humble ourselves and become submissive, meek, patient, and full of love. With our natural or default state centered on me, it is only through the consistent application of unnatural principles centered on meekness, love, and generosity that we can shift our focus outward. This transition is hard, it is lifelong, and it is the main event of gospel living. This brings to my mind a memorable commencement address given here at BYU in 2019. The speaker was the Catholic musician and social scientist Arthur C. Brooks. He may be best known for his studies showing that those who give are happier and more economically prosperous than those who don't. His immensely entertaining and moving commencement address had him sharing a personal experience about carrying around a BYU emblazoned briefcase that he had received as a gift on a previous visit to our campus. He recalled the confused looks he would get at airports of travelers trying to reconcile this BYU briefcase with the aging Starbucks-frequenting hipster that carried it. He talked about the influence this briefcase had on him. Quote, I found that it was changing my behavior. I was acting with greater love and kindness than I ordinarily would. People would look at my briefcase and I would want to help with their luggage. I would want to give up my place in line, that sort of thing. Why? Because I was unconsciously trying to live up to the high standards of kindness of your church and your university. You know what else? I even stopped carrying cups of coffee. I didn't want people to think that a member of your church is a hypocrite. He went on, that briefcase made me a happier person, a more loving person. I was like the person I wanted to be because I was trying to be like you. So what is the lesson here? It is not that your BYU briefcases have magic properties. It is that your greatest witness to the world as members of this community is the conduct of your lives. Our nation and world need this. They need you more than ever today, unquote. Well, that was in 2019. So recent, but so long ago. Consider what our nation has been through since that time. He went on to characterize our national conundrum not as anger, but of something much worse, contempt. The 19th century philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer defined contempt as the unsullied conviction of the worthlessness of another. Indicators of contempt are the biggest warning signs of divorce in a marriage and of national decline. George Washington, in his presidential farewell address, warned against the contempt intrinsic in partisan politics, which, to his disappointment, had already come to divide the people of infant America. He recognized partisan spirit as, quote, inseparable from our nature, having its root in the strongest passions of the human mind. As he willingly let go of his power, President Washington reminded all who would inherit the American experiment that, quote, the unity of government, which constitutes you one people, is a main pillar in the edifice of your real independence. And so Washington's praise of unity and devotion to a common constitution came packaged with his urgent caution about the dangers of political parties. Back to the remarks from our Catholic friend. Quote, when America is torn apart, we become incapable of living up to the plan, the holy plan for our nation, which is to shine a light for the rest of the world. So what do we need? Some say we need to agree more, but that is wrong. Disagreement is good. Other people say we need more civility, but that is wrong too, because civility is a hopelessly low standard for us as Americans. If we're going to beat the problem of contempt, we're going to need something more radical than civility, something that speaks to our heart's true desire. We need love, which was defined by St. Thomas Aquinas as to will the good of the other. We need a new generation ready to model lives of love in the midst of a culture of contempt. We need young people who will not run away from the problem, who are unafraid to infiltrate the culture of contempt, and who are capable of modeling a better set of values, unquote. Graduates, I hope you will embrace love, even in disagreement, as you bear your figurative BYU briefcases wherever you go. I hope this love will overpower your biological inclinations towards selfishness and the contemptuousness that springs naturally from partisan team spirit. Finally, let's talk about your faith. A deep education in the sciences cultivates acute abilities to be critical and skeptical. Successful scientists propose imaginative, explanatory ideas, and then they put those ideas on trial, daring them to be wrong. Scientific conclusions hold up over time only as doubt is chipped away by test after test after test. The more outlandish or controversial the idea, the greater the doubt that needs to be overcome by rigorous testing. How is a scientist thus trained supposed to approach faith? I, like many of you, was taught as a child to leap into believing in a wonderful unseen world complete with spirits, angels, miraculous healings, resurrection, heavenly mansions, life eternal. I was not taught to sort through all the arguments against the way a scientist would. I have sung the words, "I am a child of God," since my earliest memories, and I still sing them with assurance today. I once knew it was true because children have believing spirits. Then in my college years, I was honest with myself and realized that I hoped it was true. And then test after test, choice after choice, to believe, to follow, and then to embrace the gospel of Jesus Christ has led me to where I am now. I have learned that my choices to act are more likely to bring about a flowering of faith than my desires to know. And so where you testify that I know this church is true, I might say, I choose to follow Christ. Where you say, I know families are forever, I may say, my decision to love my wife and children has made all the difference. You see, my faith over the years has not been built up so much by the reception of special knowledge, but by the making of crucial commitments. And as I've remained true to those commitments, the Spirit of God has witnessed to me that, of course, Christ's church is true. And of course, families are eternal. If you feel your faith is diminished of late, consider this. Faith, like a blade of steel, must often be strengthened by first softening it, then pounding it, then cooling it again. When metal is tempered this way, its very substance is thrown into molecular chaos as new connections are made, and it comes together again as something new, firmer, more resilient, and more functional. If your faith feels soft or beat up because you've learned to see things with new eyes and more critically, the outcome will likely be better than you expect. The tempering of your faith will come as you focus a little less on what you know and more on what you're willing to do to find peace and hope in life. But be humble, choose to believe, and be assured that you never need to believe in anything that isn't true. Graduates, I hope you're leaving BYU determined to be women and men of faith, women and men of high character, and learners forever. On behalf of all the faculty in MMBio, I thank you for the honor to learn and grow with you.